I hope everybody's okay. I hope, well, firstly, then I want to say I'm very happy to see people here. You know, most of you guys have bought tickets for this thing. And I'm one of the people who have benefited a lot from these kind of conferences in the past that were done by DJU, Christos, Oskido, Vini, Greg Maloka, and DJ Fresh. Through the information, the knowledge that was imparted, you know, I'm a product of that. So I'm also hoping that we can achieve a similar thing on this year's Dance Music Summit, so that in future you guys would be able to also impart knowledge onto other people. And for this session, I am joined by somebody who's been playing for such a long time, over 20 years, over 20 years, Pranev, a DJ. But I'm also joined by somebody who's becoming a DJ superstar very quickly, Judy J. And I'm excited actually to learn from both of them, their journeys. So I think let's start there. If I want to start like with you, Pranev, being in the industry for such a long time, starting out, what have you seen like with regards to up and comers, like new DJs, you know, like just compared to when you were starting out and Le Khonanong, what have you seen, trends, things that actually make people successful in the industry?
Hi everyone. I think what I've realized is, okay, the difference between back in the days and now, it's, I think a lot of DJs, upcoming DJs, they lack passion, you know. Some of the guys, they just want to be like us, you know, and it takes dedication and patience and hard work to achieve such things, you know, and that's the main concern that we have as us, most of older DJs, because when we started, it was all about passion. It wasn't about me wanted to be like Christos or Vinny, you know. That's why it was all about perfecting the art, you know, and we worked so hard to perfect the art. So yeah, I think maybe it's that one of the things that people need to start working on, perfecting the art before starting to chase being famous or being like any other person. You know, it starts with the ground. You need to work hard and build your ground, be firm on your ground. Everything just follows, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. Just by a raise of hands, like how many of you guys here are DJs? So like almost everyone is a DJ, né? And is there anyone who is currently a resident somewhere? Like 3 or 4 guys, okay. We'll get into more of that why I'm asking this question. But let me get to you, Judy. Like how long have you been playing now?
I've been playing for 3 years now.
For 3 years now?
Yeah.
And like I'm very excited and actually just by your journey, you know, like how seeing your growth, seeing you really growing like from strength to strength. You're getting booked a lot, you know, you're releasing music, you're getting a lot of support. What are some of the things that have worked for you in the past 3 years?
It's actually like my social media presence and like the way I present myself to people. I think like the most important thing that could like help you grow as a youngster in the music industry is to like have respect. Like you must like know when to talk and when not to talk. And the most important thing, like you must focus on your craft, you know. Yeah, you mustn't like be like everywhere, you know. Yeah.
And when you say your social media presence, like what exactly do you do on social media that works for you?
I keep my social media clean. Like most of the things that I post or share, they complement what I'm doing as a DJ. You know, just like for example, if like Uncle Nastee Nev recommends me to Uncle Christos, And then Uncle Christos decides to go to my Twitter account or Facebook. When he gets there, like he finds things that they don't even match my DJing career, you know. Yeah, so it will somehow affect my brand. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to mention. You know, like what I've seen is that sometimes we get too casual about social media, but like if you're a DJ, your social media is like it's almost like an extension of your business. You know, so yeah, you could, if you're a fun person, you could be making jokes, you could be writing about soccer. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think as a DJ and as somebody who's trying to build a brand, you need to, more of your posts on social media need to go towards what it is that you are doing, you know. And I see KG here, like you do a lot of like playing live with keys, and that's your thing. So like you use social media to promote what you do, you know. It's just something in the. But Branev, I also want to ask you, just being in the industry for such a long time and seeing people coming in and some people staying, what are some of the things that have caused, that you would say are the greatest cause of people not staying long enough in the industry?
Like I said before, you know, it's all about quality. If you present yourself as quantity, you will never last in the industry. And as Judy said, respect again, you know. Most of the youngsters, they lack respect. So it's basically when you come and go on the industry, it's all about the discipline that you have. Because the promoters, it's a very dangerous industry. They'll chow you and spit you at the same time, you know. So if you lack that discipline, that's where it's gonna happen. You know, people will use you on that time, and then after that they spit you, because you need to know your worth and know your value. Don't just go and play anywhere, because the more you play everywhere and say you're promoting, yes, you need to promote yourself, but you must be careful how you promote yourself, because the minute you start playing for free or playing for a cheap price, you'll never get any price, because that's what promoters do. You know, you'll remain cheap for the rest of your life, and the minute you start trying to put a price on yourself, no one will be willing to pay for you, because you'll be all over the industry. So you don't have value. So that's how the promoters value you. You know, you don't have value. And that's why we had people come in and fade out at the same time. We know our value. As Judy said, I mean, a lot of people, they say, I'm not active on social media, but I post what is necessary for me. As Nastee Nev. Nastee Nev is a musician, he's a DJ. So I post what's relevant for me. And I don't just, because I stay 2 months or 3 months without a booking, I have to go and play out there for free or something. I know my worth, I know my value. So those are the kind of things you need not to compromise. Don't ever compromise yourself, because the minute you compromise yourself, you remain cheap. How you're gonna get out of the industry is when you start putting a price on yourself. Promoters have used you already. So when you start putting a price on yourself, they don't see any value to pay you. That's where you start thinking the industry is cruel, or people don't love you, or DJs or whatever. But you need to stand firm and believe in your craft and have value into it. Getting bookings or not getting bookings, that doesn't mean you have to get frustrated and go and play for free. Because that's what killed a lot of potential DJs and producers. Most of the guys, they wanted to put their music out there. They end up putting music for free. And putting music out for free, the next time you expect people to buy your music, they'll never buy your music. The same thing applies with DJing. Promoters, they are very dangerous. Those are the people who are running businesses as well. So if you're not firm on your grounds, that's what's going to happen. You'll never last in the industry, because you're just going to pop up and for 2 years, 3 years, and the next thing you're down, because that's how it's going to happen. So yeah, you need to stand firm.
Yeah, I can attest to that, because what I've seen happening a lot is that once you stick to a certain price that you charge as a DJ, it becomes very difficult to get out of that price zone, you know. So how you quote yourself, like you need to be aware of the fact that that might be your price for some time to come, you know, like because people that's how people do. Like you speak to one promoter and you're charging your normal price, and then you speak to another guy, you're charging him less than half. Before you know it, everybody in town knows that you are charging less than half, you know, and that becomes a price that you might find it very difficult to get out of. But just asking you again, Branevne, there's this, I want to know with regards to branding, like as a DJ, like in terms of sound, is it advisable for one to have a specific sound that people know you of? Or is it rather advisable to be open enough to play anything? Especially as a new DJ, you know, like it's easier when you are well established, when people know you for one thing. But as a new DJ, especially, do you think that it's advisable to stick to one thing, or to rather be open to play different things?
Yeah, look, building a brand, it's a hustle. It's not a child's play. Obviously, you need to believe in what you're doing. So yes, depending, if you are an upcoming DJ, obviously you'll get different bookings. You'll get a booking at a wedding, you get a booking at a pub. So obviously at wedding you play different genres. You know, people will ask you to play my piano, will play. The next thing they come play Vusi Matlasela. So it's a mix of music. Obviously you are a DJ, you need to have that kind of a sound. But going to a club, you need to have a genre where you wanna establish yourself. If you wanna be a Afro house DJ, stick to Afro house, because it takes time to build. It's not gonna be an overnight thing. You'll play at one pub at some time, and then the next time you wanna play something different. Obviously, people get lost, you know, and the signature is important. For example, I play soulful house music I've been playing it forever, you know, and it's my signature. But it took time for me to build it. When South Africa started realizing that Nastee Nev exists, it took time, and I was patient. I've been maybe 6-7 years, you know. But back then it was difficult because there was no social media. So remember, you guys are lucky because there's social media. So it's easy for you to penetrate the market. You know, you'll never take that long, because you can do your podcast, you can do your pages where you upload your mixes, people can follow you. So it's easy to penetrate and build a brand with the social media. But definitely you need to stick to especially in a club scene, you need to have your own genre where you want to believe and stick to it. Because in clubs, there's different times. Obviously, we play different music in different times. So you need to find a way where you fit from those times. It's either there's some DJs where every time when they do any event, they're playing opening sets, because promoters, they know this guy is good for playing opening sets. And there's guys who play in the main sets, you know, the mainstreams. Yes, everyone wanna play the mainstream, but it's important if you have a brand and play your signature, you have that signature. I think all of you, because you are DJs, you know in production, each and every song that you hear, you can hear this is Louis Vega. You can hear this is Nastee Nev. You can hear this is Tulu the song. Why? Because we all have signatures. We stick to our signatures. So the same thing applies to you guys. I think it's best if you have your own signature. It's not like you're running out of ideas, but it's a signature where people recognize you as a brand, you know. So it's there that every time when they hear this kind of a sound, they'll recognize this is DJ who, you know. So it's very important to have that.
Yeah, no. Before I get to Judy, I just wanted to let everyone know that later today, some of the sessions that are coming through, Ralph Gam is going to be here, Lady Leah, one of the longest playing female DJs actually, DJ Christos, China, Ket Laket, as well as Victor Mampani who will be talking mainly about sustainable growth in the digital domain, as well as Kid Funk to close the day, I think, later today. Just getting to you, Judy, as a new artist, I really am interested in finding out what are some of the challenges that you have seen, that you've been through as a new DJ in the scene.
When I started DJing, I didn't have a manager, you know. So whenever someone approaches me for a booking, I didn't know how to respond to that person. So I used to ask Kore, how do these things work, you know? Because I didn't know. Sometimes I just go to a gig, play, and then come back, and they don't even arrange like transport for me. I'm the one who's supposed to do all those things. And I'm still young, remember? I was only 16, 17 by that time. My safety was on the line, yeah. And then when I managed to get a manager, I lost some of the bookings because before, like, they used to approach me like directly, and then when I got a manager, things dropped from my side, and again with DJing, because I did not have equipment to practice. I wasn't that good when it comes to DJing, and I'm a very sensitive person, so whenever I go to a gig and then I make mistakes here and there, and when I get to social media, I find posts saying Judy this, Judy that. They sometimes used to hate me, you know. I almost lost focus, you know. Yeah, but because DJing is something that I love wholeheartedly. Yeah, I kept on keeping on.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how do you deal with that, with criticism, especially with gigs? And I'll ask the same question to you later, Pranevne. But how do you deal with the criticism when either you made a mistake or you didn't play a good set, and people get at you?
Not for my side, I usually look out from social media. I stay away from social media, maybe for 1 or 2 days, and then I come back. Yeah, just to avoid being that drama queen, wanting people to feel sorry for me, you know. Yeah. But I do appreciate honest people. I love having honest people around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pranev, the way I wanted to ask you this question is because you've been playing for such a long time, but it doesn't mean that the nights are always perfect. You know, there are some times where you're not having a good night. As a DJ, how do you deal with those things? Is it just one of those, or you just move on?
Yeah, I mean, we all know as DJs, nights are not the same, you know. Sometimes professional DJs, it's easy. They get away with it because it's professional DJ, you know. Nastee Nev will play not so super set and people won't even realize or mind it because that's how professional DJs are. But we all know we're not going to satisfy all of the people. You as a DJ, you can come to a gig and I'll play and then you'll go home not satisfied, you know. But you'll never say it because it's Nastee Nev or it's Vini or it's Christos. But being honest is we all know these guys, they don't play super sets every night, you know. So critics have to be there. For me, critics are my pillars, you know. I love critics. I love being criticized because they make me work harder, you know. And we as DJs, and look, we have to accept critics. It doesn't matter. We don't fight with people who are criticizing us. We appreciate them because those are the people who are honest. You know, our guys will go with them to the gigs. They'll never tell you if you're playing, you didn't play good. But people who comes out, who follow you, they'll tell you, Nastee, hey, I was disappointed yesterday because you didn't play that well, you know? And those are the people we really need in our lives and industry because those are the people who makes us to work harder and get to, you know, to perfect your art. So critics, look, you have to accept them. You have to accept them. That thing of going to social media, swearing at people, criticizing you, it's not gonna do you good. Because people are being honest to their feelings. Why you get angry, you understand? Those people are very important. You should respect those kind of people. Rather, in fact, thank them. Say, okay, thank you, I'll work harder next time. You understand? And it's better because you know next time when you go out there and play, you're gonna perform better. You make sure you perform better. Because every time when you get compliments, trust me, you're gonna get reluctant. you're going to be so comfortable that, I'm here, I'm the man, naga rock, I get that. But whereas there's people who are not happy with your performance and they're not telling you because they're always around you. Guys who are traveling with us, these are the guys who will never be honest with us, trust me. Because these are your guys, you understand? They'll always appreciate what you play. And that's it. But people who came and paid for you to see you play, those are the people who follow you. They don't just come, they follow you, they know how you play. And if you don't satisfy them for that night, they'll go out there and say, Nastee, no, last night I was disappointed, you didn't do this. And that doesn't mean you must stand up and swear at them at social media or do whatever. You don't run away from your problem. This is your problem. You said you want to be a DJ. Accept your critics and work hard. Build your strength on those critics. And trust me, you'll go far. People will respect you for who you are and what you do. So that's what you do. Critics, they're going to always be there. And there's no way that you have to run away from your critics. Never run away from your critics. Rather, applaud those people. And the same people who criticize you, they love you more because how you handle the critic. Because I've seen so many guys who swearing at their fans. Fans, they've got the right to say what they feel about you. If you didn't do good, you didn't do good, and that's it. You have to accept it. So critics, guys, let's accept them. And let's build our strength from the critics. Sure.
Yeah. No, I do agree. Like, I think also when you didn't do good, like sometimes as a DJ, you know that Hamar today.
Yeah. I mean, for example, look, when I started production, I didn't go to school for music. When I started doing production, I left all my friends. They left me because I was boring. Every time they come to my house, I was reading books. I was studying Cubase. So I was boring to them. You understand? It shows you how much people around you are not so important when you think you are important. People who are important are the people who are far from you, who are watching you from far distance because they're following you. That's why, again, a brand is important. Because you start building a brand, people are watching you. For you to see that brand is growing, it's consistency. Because sometimes it's like the DMS. DMS, it's going to start small. But people are watching. They want to come, but they're not sure if this thing is going to work out. After 2-3 years, it's going to be more people coming here because they want to see consistency. So if you lack consistency, that's where you lose people. When you start building a brand, you start small, it's growing, but you'll never realize it because you are in that circle. People who are out the circle, they're the ones who are monitoring the growth, your growth. So you need to be consistent and patient on working on your brand.
Hey, Teda, just before we take some questions and close the session, Judy, is there anything specifically that I know you always get advices from people who've been in the industry, like when you talk to the elders, like Bravini and people like that. Is there anything like that you could share with people that you've learned from people who've been here before?
In July, after my set on the lockdown house party, my big brother Oskambo once told me if I want to last in this music industry, I mustn't be everyone's friend. Because this industry is a dog-eat-dog world, I must just focus on myself, push my own things, be focused and also stay away from music politics. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can take some questions if anybody has questions. Chris, there's one guy over here.
All right. Regarding the questions, you'll have to take the mic off. I'm going to hold the mic so we don't pass the mic on to 100 people and then you can just talk into it. Okay.
This is basically for both DJs. In terms of your life in general, I know it's easier for producers. Nastee Nev as a brand can get away with, having a personal life. But as a DJ, how do you separate between your lifestyle and, your job, which is basically bringing music to the people on a daily basis?
Okay. Look, I don't know how I managed it, but I tried not to be too all over the places as well. You know, as a DJ, as a producer, that's my work. You know, this is what I do for a living. For the past 22 years, 23 years, I've been doing this. It's my work. So when I'm working, it's Nastee Nev. When I'm home, it's Neville. You understand? So I think, I don't know. Maybe it's discipline. I don't know how I managed to find that. But it's discipline. And that discipline came from, as I said, I lost friends. You know, I've realized I don't have true friends, you know, because when I started all this, I didn't have that support. You know, I was all alone. So I ended up being alone and trying, and being alone, it gave me that chance and space of managing that, okay, I'm going to be Nastee Nev, and when I'm at home, I'm going to be Never. So as you see, my pages on social media, Nastee Nev, I'm just posting production or my gig guides. That's it. And I've got pages of Neville where it's my personal life, you know. But maybe it's because of the discipline, how I tried to manage my life and the music industry. So in that regard, I think it's all about discipline. You know, you just try to discipline yourself. I know it's not easy. Some of the guys, they're struggling to get that discipline, but I've managed to get that. How, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's because of when I started production, my friends left me out, and maybe it was a blessing in disguise to find myself and try to sort out my personal life and the DJ world, you know. Sure.
Yeah, and I think if I could add, Chris, there's one more question then. Okay, cool. If I could add, just for me, what I think there shouldn't really be a difference, you know, that you are another person when you are at home, or like the way you carry yourself, the way I carry myself as an artist is the same way I am like this as a person, you know. So there isn't much to juggle around, if I may put it that way, in my case. But yeah, let's get a question over there.
Greetings. Sure. Greetings, everyone. It's a DJ Marvin. Sure. I come from the same cast, Nastee Nev, an inspiration indeed. And I like to say, I have a question. It's also related to mental health issues, because we go through a lot of mental strain as artists, you know. So I'd like to know, like, how do you deal with the issue comparison, you know, because there is comparison. If you are hot at that point in time, you know, as audiences or as people in the industry, we tend to compare. And once in a while it comes to your ear, or they are comparing me to someone, even if you don't hear, but you can see, or you are put on a stage to be compared with others. So how do you deal with such, being compared with others in the same league?
You want to take that, Judy?
I think it's very simple. You must trust your dopeness, because you are you, and that's you can't just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think now I've overcome that a long time ago. I think it was in 1997 or 1980. Because when I started playing, the DJs in South Africa was Christos, Vinny, Oskido, Pedro, Bob Mabena, Len Lewis. And the night when they invited me to share the stage with them for the first time, it was in Gemini, Club Gemini. And I played after Christos, you know? And it was first time I seen Christos. So I was shaking, you can imagine. Fine, I played my set, and Christos was amazed, and then I joined Wicked Sound. There was a company Christos owned called Wicked Sound, which had artists Boom Shaka, your Twist Style, and all those things. And when we went to South Africa to buy records, every time I'll get packs of records. And Positive Case, pack, Vinny, and Chris packs, they were not like mine, you know. And I'll always ask, why my plastic is not like Christos and Vinny? And they told me, like, Neville, you must appreciate what you have, or you'll get nothing, you know. And that day, that's when I started respecting and stopped comparing myself, because I think I was comparing myself with them, you know. I wanted to have the same bags that they had, you know. And after that, those words, I will never forget those words. and then I stopped comparing myself. I perfected my art. So today, even if there's comparison, I know when I'm gonna play my set, I'm gonna rock, because I've worked hard and tried to perfect my art. So I always make sure I rock. Doesn't matter I play after Louis Vega or Quentin Harris or Christos, I know I'm gonna do my thing. Why? Because we all as DJs, we satisfy people in a different way, So there's no way you have to feel sorry for yourself, or you have to stand firm and be proud of yourself and your work. Sure.
Yeah, we've got one more question, Kai. And if I could add just on the mental health issue thing and comparison, sometimes it's comparison about getting gigs, like you see, especially on social media. Before, if there was no social media, you didn't need to see necessarily that Vinny is getting booked a lot or somebody else is getting booked. But now, you see a lot of people, somebody's getting booked a lot, and on the other hand, you might not be getting the same bookings, and it might be affecting you mentally, that like, but I'm as good as this guy, or I'm better than this guy technically, but I'm not getting booked. I think if you are on social media, for me, like the way I use it, I don't really consume. I use it just to put out stuff, I don't really look at what other people are doing unless I'm doing so to get inspiration. But let's get a question from...
Pranev, you said something about not underselling yourself in the industry. So how do you measure yourself? How do you put a benchmark as to where do you start? How do you charge people? And how do you know when to increase the price?
Okay. Look, firstly, let's say you don't know your worth. You don't know your worth. It's best if you ask. It's best if you ask. Find out. Like for me, I've got a lot of inquiries from the UKs, the Londons. I didn't know how much to charge them. I ask. You understand? Because it's better to ask. The best thing is ask. There's a lot of guys. I mean, Chris, your Vinny's, us will give you. You can ask anybody. That's why it's easy to get in contact with any of the guys because there's social media now. But it's best to ask. Just to ask, have an idea, estimation. Okay, I'm a young upcoming DJ. What do you think should I price or upon? You can ask 3 or 4 guys. Just to have an idea. Because giving out the price without an idea, it's a problem again. That's where you underprice yourself, or sometimes you overcharge. But having an idea, asking 3, 4 guys, and then they can give you. Obviously, we will never give you the same rate. But you can work around it. If Christos say, no, you can start by charging 2 grand. And then Nal say, you can start charging by 1.5. Then Vinny will say, no, because you're still young, you can start by charging 1 grand, And then you start working on that. Okay, it's fine. I'm still young, building up. Maybe 1.5 will do for me, And obviously, there's radiuses. This is my Kasi. Okay, Kasi, because of transport, it's less. Because I'm not spending a lot, So it's best to ask, just to find out information, and that's where you can work out your price. Having those 4 or 5, people who can maybe give you a round figure of how much can you charge. And then you start there. Obviously, when you start growing, you start increasing the price. Because obviously, when you grow, you'll see about the demand. When the demand starts picking up, obviously, you see, okay, now I can live from 1.5 to 1.8. Because obviously, when you grow, you're getting new promoters. So when you start getting new bookings from new promoters, obviously, that's where you increase your price. Because they don't know your price. They've been seeing you playing around places. So when you say I want 2.5, they think that's what you've been charging all these other guys. You understand? So that's how you grow. So I see how you'll always say, okay, this is home. I'll compromise, I'll play for grand or 1.5. But when you start growing, you'll see by promoters, people from Free State starting calling you and say, Joe, we want you to come. That's why you put a price. And even again, before you put a price, you ask again. Just ask same guys. Say, guys, what's again? So how much can I charge Free State? Free State, you go to Google. Again, you Google. Where in Velcom, you Google Velcom, how many kilometers you're driving. Then you see, oh, Velcom is about 302 kilometers, or full tank, 800. Maybe I can go a full tank and a half. You charge, okay, 1.5 figure petrol, a little gate, then performance fee, like you can give me 4 grand, or you can give me 3 grand. Depends on your, but it's better to ask. Always when you price, especially when going out of your comfort zone in terms of car, see, you always Google, check the kilometers, because they are very important. Sometimes you get excited and say, I'm for 2,000. You don't know my figure where it is. You start realizing when you are on the road to nature, 2,000 2,000. So it's very, very important, Buffet, too. Let's Google. As DJs, let's Google, get information where you're going, and then you're going to need the accommodation or not. If you're pricing somebody and you think, no accommodation, you can even add a little bit of a grand because of accommodation. If you know, my performance fee is 8,000, excluding transport or accommodation. Or 10,000 include transportation and accommodation. So that's how you work out your prices. But if you don't have any idea, ask. It's very important because we avoid such mistakes. It's how we charge them to 2,000. If we fell West Patocross Nalukulu, then it's a problem. Because the minute Okramoto au feletang, hora au se gigi, where are the moen? He Santo Regale di Jusonze and we Santo Telepetrol. It's a lot. So how good to check the kilometers and all those things? It's easy because you start working your budget. And then it's gonna be easy for you to price. Sure.
Yeah, let's get another question. There's one. We'll take like let me say a last round of questions so I can note people. So we're going here and then we're going to you, my brother, and then my sister over there, and then 2 more guys there. Sharp. So let's start here.
Eta?
Hola.
My question is more on the production side of things. You know, like a lot of you guys, you stress quality over quantity. Ne? But when you're starting out, the quality, it can be a bit of a problem because you can find what a sharp, he mixes it the whole month, this one track. And then I've also released so it's like, how do you control, like quality control for, especially when you're starting out because you don't have the money to go to engineers.
Yeah.
So, especially in your guys' journeys, like for example, how did you guys get it right? Sharp.
If I can answer that briefly, I won't like extend the answer because we've got Ralph Gam next time on the next session to talk more about production. But I think it's a learning curve, you know. Like nobody starts first track and everything is all perfect, you know. Everybody starts somewhere. Like I've had my fair share of not so nice songs, you know what I mean. So I think it's more about trusting the journey that. Can I learn from the last track? You know, not every song that I do is going to be perfect at the beginning, but can I always learn on the new productions as I grow? But like I said, I'd like stand a bit more on production stuff on the next session.
Yeah, a quick answer to you, brother. Check out YouTube. There's so many things that you can learn from YouTube. Check out YouTube. You can perfect your Atolega Muntung via YouTube. That's what I'm saying. Social media now, it's here. And it's making life so easy. Now I read books, so now you can watch video and it's gonna be easy.
Cool.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
In terms of booking contracts, right? What's your advice on that? Because I feel like with most promoters, they shy away from booking contracts. Yes.
For booking contracts, if maybe someone wants to book you and you send them your contract, they don't want to sign and return it back to you. It shows that these people, like in the long run, they won't like cooperate with you. So you must just rather not take that booking. Yeah.
Let me try to get the question again, like from you. Was it, should you do booking contracts all the time or not?
I feel like most of the time, promoters shy away from booking contracts, and even in the booking contract, what should you do?
You know, so you mustn't seem like you are too demanding, but also you must accommodate yourself and the needs. Yeah.
No, like I feel like as an artist, people must like respect you. Like they must respect your worth. So whatever that you're gonna write on that contract, they must make sure that they do follow ups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like your accommodation, your transport, your caterings, and even your fee also, and your safety again. Yeah.
It depends again. You're talking in a way of a manager or yourself, because yes, I agree with you. Most of the promoters now they shy away from the contract, you know. So you'll find somebody wanna book Nastee Nev, I send him to the office, and then when they get a contract, they wanna call me back and say, Joe, can we sort out this thing, you know? But contract is important again. Why? Firstly, because it protects you as an artist, you know. You don't know where you're going, firstly. So you don't know what to expect. So at least it put you on that situation of, and the promoter has to oblige to what he signed for, you know. Because sometimes if there's no contract, obviously, you're gonna fail out of it. You get there, the sound is poor, or your CDJs that you demanded are not there, then you're forced to play with CDJs that you don't want to play because people are already there, you know. So yeah, promoters, whenever they share away from contract, then you know that something is dodgy with them. Because if somebody want to do business, definitely has to be a contract on that. Sure.
And just quickly, you can just check DJ booking contracts, Google a couple of templates, and take out what you don't need there and leave what might work for you if you want to get an example. Cool. Let's get a question.
Hi guys.
Hola.
I just wanted to ask also on the production side, I know we're going to do a bit more discussion afterwards, but given that we are in a social media age and it's easier to promote yourself, but that also means there's a lot more production artists also trying to push. What would you say is the best way to push yourself or to get your music out as an up-and-coming producer?
I don't know. I think I want to leave that question for the next session as well, because it's more about production. Two more. We'll get to the brother at the back. Okay, 3 more questions.
Oh, hi. I just want to ask, in terms of dance music, since it's a broad genre, right? There's a house, there's like different types of genres within the dance music itself, like Bacardi, Deep House. For me, like I wanna ask, most I see some of the speakers here are Deep House players. So where do you see Deep House music in the next 5 to 10 years? Because like it's not popular, and like how can one make a living out of it if one wants to take that route?
Do you want to start, Judy?
It goes back to the thing, quality over quantity. Like deep house music is not like a trend, just like the piano thing. Those genres, they come and go, and deep house music is always here. Yeah.
How can you make a living? Cause like okay, the popular genres like piano, they can have their music played, go MTV and all that, and they get all the bookings in the famous places, right? But then as a deep house DJ or producer, how can you make a living in the next, since we in the 4IR, yeah.
It's not about being famous or making money. It's just the love for music, you know. Now from my side, the reason I'm playing deep house, maybe I wanna make money, or I wanna be famous or something. I just wanted to share my love for music with the masses.
Yeah, and I think like I hear your question. You know, like when you look at popularity, our genre might not be the most popular, but there are people who are making it within our genre. You know, who are making a living as DJs only. You know, like Judy is one of those person. Nastee Nev also. There's people like Oskambo. So I think that it's up to you, you know, like for me, with this it's about us sharing our value, but like sharing our views about what we do. It might work for us, it might not work for you. You know, you might feel like I didn't slow for now, you know. I want to get into a genre that's going to make me quick money. And you can try that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think at the end of the day, we still have a market. We still have a solid market at Deep House, you know, like, and I can't really say, yes, you can make a living out of it, because there's also other people who are not able to make a living out of it. But it's better to learn from those who are already doing that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think also another thing, after the sessions, feel free to ask the guys, the panelists who are here as well, like if you have more questions. You know? But I think we've got 2 more questions. There's a guy at the back who's been asking, and there's also another brother here in the front.
I just like to ask, as a hip hop DJ, I don't know whether like I'm in the right place, because it says dance music. So according to me, music is music. Yes. And reason why I came here, I just wanted to get the broader picture about like music. But like the industry, it's not friendly, especially when you playing hip hop and house. You find out that there's some like DJs, they don't want you to cross over as a hip hop DJ, to cross over to house. So I just wanted to like, I wanted like to put it to Chris, because he's the one who, he once played hip hop, and I just wanted to find out how to, like to get through that obstacle of trying to juggle like two genres at the same time.
Chris.
Actually, let me answer the question. I think, you know what, brother, I think the industries do as you wish. As much as there's criticism here and there and stuff like that, you know, stay away from the politics, you know, and stuff like that. And at times, you know, people like me, I stand up for something if I have to. It's not because I want to get involved in politics, but let's put that aside, because that's not the question. I think for now the question is, you know, do what you feel is right. But I think the advice that I can give is, depending on the environment you're in, if you're in a club, don't play as a wedding DJ, not meaning it in an offensive way. Don't try and play all genres, unless they asked you to, you know. But if you want to make it as a DJ and be me or whoever, because, you know, you can still be Tira and you can play Afro House, you can be, Coffee and be sort of on the Afrotech scene or whatever it is, you know. Doesn't matter who you are. They chose to be in those spaces. So choose to be in a space rather than too many genres, if you understand. And if you want to swap from hip-hop to house or from house to hip-hop, do so. I mean, there's a guy here that was working with me and I groomed him. And he's doing hip-hop and he's doing very well with hip-hop. And he was great with both genres. But he's doing better in hip-hop. And maybe that's where his love is. And that's great. That's the whole point. The whole point of this conference is to bring you the love. You know, for you to fall in love with what you can do. And that's it. So I think let's not worry too much about the politics and, you know, all those things and stuff like that, you know. And I think do what you love. And that's really the truth of it. And also to answer your question regarding the making money, I'm not sure if the music industry was made for us to get into it to make money. It's not like a normal job. I think it needs to start with passion and love. And I think the people we chose in this session for 2020, you know, was those that are in love with what they do. Because we want to show that love, and then so that you can fall in love with what you do, and the money will come. You know, you'll get better at what you do, and then the money comes. And it doesn't matter which genre you're in. I don't think there's necessarily more money in other genres and stuff like that, because let's also not forget the longevity of certain genres, you know. Even though they are there for a purpose, and we'll respect all of them, you know. But it's those things. But I think start with the love. It all starts with the love. Do what you do passionately, and then you'll achieve the rest of the things. Yeah.
I think we're about to close now, to get into the next session. But you at the back, I think there's still some seats this side, if you want to come through, because you may be a bit far from the microphone. There's one guy right at the back there.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you. I just want to, mine is more a contribution than questions. And first of all, I want to thank Chris for putting the Dance Music Summit together. And as part of my opening comment, is that South Africa is the only country where we're not taking conferencing on music and stuff serious. Because music has never been viewed as a business in South Africa. We think it's one of those things that everybody else want to do. It's a fashionable thing. But when you look into the history of music generally, back to Miriam Makeba and them, you'll see that it has fed a lot of families. It has been a business on its own, and very few of us have seen it as such. So it's about time that we gear up and see this as a business. That's my first point. Nastee, somebody asked a question there about how much do they charge, and you did respond. Oh, sorry, my name is DJ HK from Husky Records. You did say you gave a response, but I also want to add to that response to say you really need to know what you are worth, because the same trip that you took, being booked here and you are staying across the street, time and again, I can book you for a $2,000 this weekend, but somebody else can book you next weekend at the same venue. It doesn't mean you have to charge $2,000. You need to know what you are worth and what is the nature of the event where you're going to participate and what is the value of that event. You can't go and play at DSTV Delicious. Let me talk about one of my events. Charging 2,000, or maybe coming here, playing at my gig, and you charge 2,000, and the following day you want to go play at Delicious, which is a multi-million event, and you still want to charge $2,000 because the kilos are the same and so on. Know your worth, but calculate the value of the gig and the industry in general so that you can price accordingly. Don't overprice yourself, don't underprice yourself, but know what you are worth. The second contribution that I want to make, it's about trends and fashions, and fashionable stuff that people do. Are we here because we are musicians and DJs and producers, or you are here because it's something that is fashionable? Everybody else is doing it, and you want to be seen to be doing it. You know, why are you in this industry? When this question was asked to one of the guys in the UK, a business that clocked 3.4 billion in 2017, when South Africa could not even mention how much we were making in the industry. It was very easy for the guy to respond because he knew his worth. Why are you here, and what is it that you want to achieve in the future? The last thing, in terms of genres, relating to the last question of the gentleman asking about hip-hop, there isn't this, my understanding of a dance music summit, any music genre will make you dance. It's not about house and so on. And I can tell you, I'm also here because I don't think I came for house music. I came for music. When I started playing in '92, I was a hip-hop DJ. Today I might be playing house. Most of those that know or have seen me play, they'll think, no, this is a house, it's a house guy, and so on. The last thing, Chair, apart from YouTubing and so on and so forth, the South African music industry must come together. You must start working together and collaborating and not competing the way this industry has been. When Chris is talking about the politics, avoiding politics, it's really referring to some of these things where we compete unnecessarily when we should be complementing each other. I'm sure most of you don't even know that the guy who's standing next to me here, giving me the mic, is the guy who opened the doors for people like Oskido. He's the longest serving DJ in South Africa, the former resident of what was known as, what's your club?
Club Razzmatazz.
At Razzmatazz. We all know the history of Razzmatazz, but we don't know the history behind those people. So how do we work together? How do we make historical information that's at our disposal grow this industry? And I'm saying this Dance Music Summit is a good start. Let's work on it. Let's nurture it. Let's bring the technical part on it. Young people who want to join this, it's not a joyride. It's not a fashionable thing. It needs commitment and your presence. Thank you, Chair.
Brother, I think we're gonna take your question in the breaks, ne? Yeah, we need to get into the next session with Ralph Kam, but let's give another round of applause to Nastee Nev and Judy J.